Alright, so let me explain. It started with a leftover box of black cherry jello, and that's what you see mixed in with this corn in the bucket. I took it out one day when I was doing some maintenance around the property and decided to bait and see what happens. Put a bunch in here where pigs have been rooting, and then I added some around the feeder, as you can see. But I want y'all to see what these deer did only a week later. Okay, so I know what you're thinking, and you're probably going to say there's no way this worked so well, and there's no way it was that easy. Well, the truth is, yes, it really is that easy. And let me tell you my story. The second season I was on this property, I used every different type of scent. I used every type of buck attractant. I used every type of doe urine or anything that I could think of to try and attract some deer. The crazy thing is, I might have been overdoing it, and I was probably guaranteed to really be overthinking it. Yes, pigs would come through, but what good is having a bunch of pigs at your feeder when you're hunting deer for that small window that we get each year? So then the next season, I decided all I was going to do was fill my feeder and mow the grass, just so that way I have a clear shooting lane. And here's what the results have been. I did put out the black cherry jello as a kind of a fluke the first time. It's one of those things that I just happened to come across and discover that worked really well. So I put it out to get the initial photos of all the bucks that had been coming into the feeder, and you've seen how that worked. Okay, so let me explain the thought behind this. A scent drip is typically used to place doe urine in during rut, so that way you have a consistent source of doe urine dripping, and that produces the scent that will attract the buck. So why do you only want to attract the buck? Why not try to attract the doe? And here's my thought. The bucks are going to follow the does. If you have does at your feeder, you will always have a buck coming in, especially around rut. Now in my area, I have seen signs of rut starting as early as October 20th. Now each area varies. If you're in Texas, I would recommend that you check out Texas Parks and Wildlife. They do have some data for each county in the state. So for those of you who don't know, the way a scent drip works is once it's put into place, the plastic starts to expand as it heats up during the day. And the reason why I say I'm going to put it out once it starts to cool off, if I put it out first thing in the morning here in Texas right now, it's literally going to drip out everything that's in it. By the time it reached noon, I don't even think there would be a drop of anything left. So with the temperatures getting down into the mid 60s first thing in the morning and then working their way up to 80s and 90s is kind of the perfect time to start. But my thought behind this is that if you're only attracting the bucks, what good is that going to do? Why not try and attract what they're chasing? So broaden how you're going to attract the deer. And I say deer because I mean bucks will be attracted to the smell of vanilla or something sweet, as I said earlier, and as we've seen throughout this footage. So I'm going to start using the vanilla scent just as soon as it starts to cool off a bit here in Texas. Definitely check your state regulations on baiting before you look into this method. Here in Texas, we are allowed to bait, but you can pick these guys up on Amazon. I think they're $10 to $15. It's a really good investment. I've had this one out for just about 2 years now and have not needed to replace it yet. So something to look into. But as I mentioned, the theory behind using the vanilla is just to start attracting all deer versus just only attracting bucks. When you start attracting the doe, naturally the bucks are going to chase after them as they start to rut. So like I said earlier in the video, as hunters, we tend to overthink and overanalyze, and we have good intentions. We want to be successful, but that's the key to it, is that we just put so much effort into it and don't think and look at the bigger picture. Rather than trying to attract a healthy deer herd, most of the time we're worried about just filling tags and what our buck's gonna score. Well, I can tell you this. If you take the time to just simplify your approach and really just look at what you can do overall and look at the big picture, you might be surprised what types of results you can get.